Hello, and welcoming you guys to another One Piece video. Today, we have the post-game show on our hands for chapter 1162. Just in case this is your first time tuning into one of these videos, how it works is that I like to go through the comment section of the review video for this latest chapter just to see what everybody's talking about. What are the hot comments? What are the theories, the opinions, the jokes? We're here for all that. We're here to have some fun and just talk One Piece. So buckle up, get ready, because we're diving headfirst into the world. That sounds a little bit silly, but I digress. It is time to get into these comments. First one, top comment right here. It says, now we know where Teach got his off-screen powers from. And the second comment also echoed the same thing. Rock's off-screen Garling, Blackbeard off-screen Shanks. It runs in the family. Funny enough, I wonder if there's a legitimate reason as to why they are the off-screen kings. For Rocks, it kind of makes a lot of sense because Oda's speeding things up. He didn't want to show us the Admiral fight. He didn't want to waste time on Garling, sadly. But for Blackbeard, the off-screen fights for him were a key reason as to why people still believe, that he has some sort of special power that we don't know of yet. The Blackbeard fight, right? He managed to scar Shanks without the Yami Yami no Mi and without the Gura Gura no Mi, which is insane, right? Because Shanks, he's not a pushover, and he himself said that he wasn't being careless-reckless either. So Blackbeard got a lot of clout early on in the series, and then you go over to the Ace fight, and it's like, yeah, Blackbeard performed pretty well. Blackbeard caught Ace off guard with the Yami Yami, but we don't see what happens after Ace launches Entei. We see Blackbeard with his giant black vortex and it collides, but after that, it's like, okay, was there more to the fight? Did that end the fight? And then we go over to Magellan, and it's kind of the same way where, Blackbeard got up, boom, Magellan's done, right? Of course, he has Shiryu on his side now. He knows what Magellan is all about, so we can kind of see where that's going. And then even for the Law fight, I would argue, that's also off-screened, because while we start the Law fight, the minute he cancels Law's Awakening, we cut away and Blackbeard wins. There's something about that last 10% of Blackbeard fights that I think Oda is withholding for certain reasons. Maybe he has a third power, maybe he has an alternate personality, maybe he is just really cracked and he only shows it after you take his health bar down a little bit, kind of like a boss, right? You beat a boss down, and then boom, phase 2 starts, and then it's a whole different person. That's kind of what I imagine Blackbeard is like. So it's kind of funny seeing Rox is getting the same off-screen powers that his son has. This comment says, Kaido will figure out that hockey transcends all in this fight. That is true. Even with just the Holy Knights, you can't really injure them unless you have honed your Conqueror's hockey. So this could be where Kaido figures that out. Whether it's against Emu or the God Knights, he will learn today. Which would be a really sad thing, considering that he just got his Devil Fruit. Like, hey guys, I got my fruit! Huh? You're telling me it doesn't really matter in these matchups? What the hell? Yeah, sad for him. Maybe the Revs actually have a chance against the Holy Knights with how sorry they're turning out to be. It's funny. I made a short dash. I also made a conversation about this with Brago, and I told him about one of my greatest fears in the series. Something that I genuinely wouldn't smile about. And that's this scenario right here. If we get to that final saga, and, Dragon, Sabo, besides the point. I'm cool with them being strong fighters. I think I pretty much accept that already. But if Ivankov defeats a Holy Knight, if Karasu defeats a Holy Knight, if Bello Betty's over here boxing the man Maya Girl, I don't know how I'd feel, man. That's just so sad to think about. And not just the Revs, right? This isn't a Rev exclusive fear. I also talked about this in regards to the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Brother, if Orlumbus, Cavendish, Sai, or Leo, they come in and they start mopping the floor with the God Knights, I would be shedding tears that day. With Garling in this chapter, it's like, okay, he's still young, he has room to grow, he's gonna regenerate, he lost to Roxy Zebek, the #1 in the verse. I'm fine with that. But if we fast forward to present day and they lose to the Revs, not Sabo or Dragon, or the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, dude, that's gonna be a bad day for me. I don't know, man. I agree though, they are looking very sorry. I mean, Maffy got no diff without Whitebeard even knowing who the hell she is. You know, Garland got done dirty off screen. Maybe next chapter is going to be when the Holy Knights start reeling it back. You know, maybe we just have to stand strong and stick to our guns, but my God, they are turning out pretty awful. People are saying the Holy Ropo, and it's too much, man. My heart can't take it. This says they doing my guy Garland dirty, but the Rocks, Roger, Whitebeard, and Kaido team up against Emu is going to be crazy. Yes, it is. And I do wonder where Garp fits into all this as well. I held a poll, which we will be going over later, but a lot of people do believe that Garp will help the boys here. They will go against Emu, which, I don't know, man. Like, it seems like a battle royale right now, but it's just hard to imagine Garp going against them and helping Emu. And same with Roger, right? Not in that same way, but it's hard to imagine Roger assisting Emu or, you know, treating this like a true battle royale. I feel like the minute he sees Emu, he's going to want to fight it. Right? I doubt his rivalry against Rocks is going to pop up here. He's probably going to say, hey, what the hell is that? My adventurous spirit is telling me to go fight that thing. So yeah, the team up against Emu is going to be insane. And the thing we do have to remember is that this might not even be 100% power Emu even, right? This is Emu coming out of Saturn's body. The real Emu is probably still at the Holy Land. So if they perform well here, that'd be nuts. Next comment, they say, the way Saint Saturn worried about something else being unleashed is interesting. It reminds me of the way all the Gorsei were worried in Film Red about Tot Musica being revived. So I'm predicting that maybe the giant serpent or the phoenix from the mural might be buried underwater, and heavy bursts of hockey clashes on similar levels to Joy Boy might awaken those beast-gods since their silhouettes were much clearer from the rest of the mural. I like this a lot. In this latest video, I did talk about a demon potentially spawning in, or a god even. And that's mainly because I showed proof earlier, I might show it again here, but Sandman said that in an exclusive Japanese Film Red screening, Oda did say, apparently, that there does exist a demon like Tot Musica in the world of One Piece. He has not drawn it yet, though. So I wouldn't be shocked if that is what Emu-Saturn are talking about here, but if we wanted to be straight and narrow, we could just say that they're afraid of the aftermath. Like, oh, if survivors leave the island, they'll tell other people about the cleansing event. It could spawn dissenters from the WG, the Marines. It could even cause an uproar with the Will of D-Clan because Roger's a D-Clan member, Garp's a D-Clan member, Rocks is a D-Clan member. Maybe this will trigger something with that will. There's a lot of ways to look at this, but I will admit I do like the demon route a lot, but the logical side of me is saying it's Will of D related. But we'll see. I do think this is the fun answer though, 100%. I wonder if Syvduck would approve of his son killing his best bro, Whitebeard. That's a good question. I don't think so. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think so. I don't think he'd stop his son, but I don't think he'd be cheering him on. The tough part about this too is that Whitebeard didn't treat Blackbeard badly. If anything, Whitebeard gave Blackbeard a home for many, many years, right? Whitebeard picked up the orphan Blackbeard, raised him in his crew. Blackbeard almost rose to division commander, but he turned it down. He wanted to stay in his shadow. He kind of wanted Pops to succeed until Pops wanted to take a backseat in the era. Like, Whitebeard was that guy. You know, Whitebeard did treat Blackbeard like a son. And Blackbeard goes and kills Thatch, captures Ace, and then he kills Blackbeard. Yeah, I don't know if Syvduck would like that. I mean, we saw how Syvduck treated King Harold, right? I don't think he would exactly tolerate this, but that's tough, man. It's like if you had a kid and your kid just really effed up one day. Your kid gets arrested. Like, yeah, you want to defend them, but you kind of know they're in the wrong. Needless to say, I don't think Syvduck would do the same thing that Blackbeard has done. This says, like if Garland's a fraud. No! He's not a fraud. He's not a fraud. Rumor has it, Rocks stabbed Garland in the back multiple times. He got Garland with the classic, hey, look over there. These pirates, man, they play dirty. I don't trust them one bit. I'm calling it now. Stussy will be the next cover page story we follow. Remember me. I agree. I think no matter what the next cover page story will be, it's going to be Egghead related. I'm leaning towards Stussy, Sentomaru, the Megapunk even, or maybe even the VAs. I think the VAs would be my #1 pick in my heart. But logic dictates that we'll follow Stussy or Sentomaru. I think she could end up with Neo Mads, which would be really nice, right? It's like the gang getting back together. Granted, this Stussy has never met them. It was the OG Stussy. I think that'd be a nice route for her. Even cross-guild would be a lot of fun. Like maybe she stumbles upon Buggy and she's like, hey, this is a nice setup you got here. You guys need a scientist? Like, I think Stussy will be well needed pretty much everywhere. I don't think a single crew, if they really think about it, would turn her away. Silverax, been getting attacked every other time he shows up. You're not wrong. Like, even in his introduction, Silverax got kicked, and then he had to fight the guy. And then in this chapter, Silverax got kicked again, but more effectively, though. You know, Silverax got beaten. I hope he's not done. You know, especially when he got kicked by a nameless Marine, I think? We don't even know who that is. Is it a Marine? Is it a pirate? I don't know, but they whooped Silverax's ass. Hopefully we get more from him. Hopefully he's not done here. This comment says, man, Whitebeard, nice profile picture. Whitebeard, being a ride or die and Kaido pulling up, I was nearly in tears reading this shit on my break at work. After all these years of everyone thinking the crew hates Syvduck, it turns out they were there for him when they didn't really have to be. It was beautiful. It is. It is beautiful, brother. Problem with this is that we haven't seen the end of God Valley yet. Kaido did drop a very ominous line back during Wano, and he said the minute it looks like you're about to lose, pirates will betray you. They will leave you behind. Of course, so far, doesn't look like that's the case, right? Kaido showed up, Whitebeard showed up. I'm expecting more people to show up too. But once it looks like Imu is about to kill Syvduck, once it looks like they're about to lose, that is when we might see everybody's true colors. I think Whitebeard and Kaido will stick with rocks, but maybe the rest of the crew doesn't. You know, like your Captain Johns, like your Big Moms maybe even like your Silveraxes. We don't know. You know, we still do not know who Kaido was exactly talking about. So while it's beautiful right now, we do have to remember, this is only the start of God Valley. This says, I'm glad Garp didn't know about the native hunting competition, but I just don't understand how that is possible when literal cadets take part in these. Are they all killed after the game is over? That'd be kind of nice. Yeah, like leave no survivors, leave no witnesses. If so, how is the death of so many Marines covered up every 3 years? It could be an incident report, you know, like kind of how Garp didn't know about the incident report about the rumors of the previous Celestial Dragon hunting competition. It could be like that. You could just chalk it up to, oh, they were attacked by pirates off the coast and they just died. You know, it's not something you can easily fact check back then. I think Imu needs to be in possession of some kind of memory-altering abilities, like the king in Attack on Titan. Otherwise, things like these games and Rox's existence being covered up just doesn't make sense. I like this idea a lot. I've never seen this being applied to the Marine cadets, but this theory does exist for the Void Century. Because when you really think about it, it doesn't make sense how so many people have no clue what happened for a 100-year span. Right, for humans, I can kind of see it like, oh, maybe we didn't write things down, but even then I feel like a lot of countries and people do, and then you hand down journals, and then plus that's just 9 or 10 generations ago, considering every human lives like till they're 130-ish. Like, it doesn't make sense. And then especially with giants. Brother, giants live until they're around 300 years old. Bro, Yarul is 400. 2 to 3 Yarls, boom, Void Century. That's your grandpa passing down war stories. How do we not know what happened during the Void Century? That's a big thing. I think there was some sort of memory-altering process. It could be like Pudding's awakening, the memory fruit, and maybe somebody just snipped it out. Maybe Imu did it, like you're suggesting. Or this could be technology related, because we did see at Egghead Island, Vegapunk had a machine that wiped his own memories, because obviously he doesn't want to remember what the hell's happening, right? He figured out everything, and he said, hey, let's erase the memories so that, you know, we play it cool. It could be like that, especially when you consider the fact that 900 years ago, like they said, technology was a lot more advanced. Imu could possess a machine like that, and like you said, they wiped the memories of the cadets and everyone who was present at God Valley. I like that idea a lot. I think this will be tackled. It might not be an Imu thing. It could be a memory thing, could be a machine thing. But I do think something like this does exist. Good catch. Roger reached the last island Lodestar before God Valley and restarted his pirate journey again after seeing Imu. He's been doing this just for fun. He is. You know, he's going around killing crews, man. I do wonder, if we ever follow Roger, I hope we get a flashback of him killing Squart's crew. I wonder what the hell went down for Roger to do that move, man. But either way, yes. I feel like seeing Emu here at God Valley is kind of like hopping onto YouTube after beating Hollow Knight Silksong and realizing that there's an entire Act 3, an entire area of the game that you can go to if you don't beat the final boss right away. I think it's the same thing here. You know, Roger thought he saw everything. He sees Emu, and he's like, hey, maybe we should become historians for a little bit. Maybe there's something about that Void Century we should probably learn about. What's with those giant rocks we see every now and then? Yeah, Roger started his second playthrough right after this. Spitting lies in our ass is a crazy phrase. Yeah, I have no idea what I was going for. I think somebody here says, I might have been going for blowing smoke up her ass. But yeah, spitting lies in our ass, that's a crazy one. But it kind of fits, you know. If you never heard this before and somebody dropped it, it's one of those bangers where you kind of just nod your head and you're like, yeah, you spitting lies in our ass, man. Kaido looks like a hamster eating his fruit. Yeah, Alvin and the Chipmunks looking ass. Navy. A part of Emu's power is to use the abilities of those they have a contract with. It would explain why they use so many different powers on Elbaf. Maybe one Holy Knight had the ability to summon things and another has the ability to Domi Reversi, maybe even the Abyss Mark. Yeah, this is kind of like the inverse of what I've been going with. My mindset is that Emu has all of the powers and then they divvy it up among the Holy Knights. So you're suggesting the opposite, where each Holy Knight has a power and then Emu can use all of those powers, which I think is also pretty cool. You know, this kind of does tie back to the Gunko era, right? Because during the Reverie flashback, we saw this arrow come out and stab King Cobra. Of course, it was all in the shadows. We don't know what was going on there. Is that Emu's tail? Was Gunko hiding behind Emu's chair and did it? Or is it an ability that Emu and Gunko share? And Emu has it because Gunko has it. I feel like when it comes to Emu, there's so much we just do not know about them. And if he or she, is actually from the Void Century, then that's kind of insane to think about, right? Like, did multiple people in the Void Century have this power? Is he from a certain clan? Did magic just exist back then casually? And then what are we going to do about Joy Boy's powers? Is he just a carbon paste copy of Luffy with his Sun God Nika powers? Or does Joy Boy also have something similar to go against Emu? Does Oda keep off-screening fights because he knows Toei will make it pretty? I think it's half and half. Funny you ask this because I believe a week and a half ago, somebody asked Oda about battle manga and what he wants for One Piece. And Oda said he wasn't going for a battle manga. He's mainly going for an adventure manga that does have battles. So I think it's half and half. Part of it, probably because he knows that Toei will pick up the slack. A great example would be Zoro versus Rob Lucci. In the manga, it was okay, right? We got that final attack, but we also just had a lot of boom, 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 boom every time we saw them, and that was pretty much it. In the anime, though, like I said, they went absolutely nuts with it. So I do think Oda knows that they will pick it up. And then, of course, we do have like the whole Wit Studio remake, which I think will be insane if it ever gets here. And then on the other side of the coin, I think Oda also doesn't want to show us the fights because he doesn't want to stay in this flashback forever. He doesn't want to stay with One Piece forever. Oda, time and time again, has talked about One Piece ending soon. Do you guys remember that? He was like, oh, One Piece is about 60% done. And then we're in Wano, and he's like, oh, One Piece, we're in the final stretch. We only have 5 to 6 years left, guys. And then here we are 5 to 6 years later, and Oda's like, hey, guys, my timing is awful, right? I do think there's a part of Oda that wants out of the game, but because he doesn't want to rush the story, instead, he kind of rushes the fights with off-screen fights. I do think that the big fights will be on screen, but if he can skip it, he will. But that's just my take. This comment says, are you just spitting on my ass? Is going to be my new go-to phrase for when people ... lie to me. Yeah, hey, use it, guys. Trust me, it's gonna catch on. Give it some time. You know, it just takes one person to change the narrative. 930, Katakuri in the hybrid dragon form would look like Absolute Killer Croc from Absolute Batman. And I need to see it. You're right. Dude, I love the DC Absolute series. I haven't read them personally. but I have peeped at all the designs from Superman all the way to Killer Croc, Martian Manhunter, the Joker, etc. And all these characters, brother, they're looking fire. At first, I thought Garling was regenerating slowly due to Rox's Conquers Hockey, but then the woman next to him remarks, now that we know that he's a Davy Clan, which could imply that being a Davy Clan member is the reason his regen is being affected. I wonder if this means there are two ways of hurting the Knights of God. One with Conquerors, and the other by just being a Davy. I hope you don't need to check both requirements, otherwise the pool of characters who can face them becomes even smaller. I don't think so. I think you just need one or the other, and I have heard this as well. Somebody saying that, oh, the Davy Clan have a special power that allows them to hurt the Knights of God. And I do enjoy that, but maybe that's why Oda has been off-screening the Blackbeard fights. Maybe he has Davy Clan powers that Oda didn't want to show us yet, or something that Oda didn't have planned out yet. I think that could be the case. You know, maybe they fight normally, Rox and Blackbeard, and then they're like, okay, Davy Clan special attack. Maybe it's like that. And I do enjoy that idea. I think that would make the Davy Clan special, right? Because right now they're just a bunch of people that share the same last name. But if you give them a special ability, you know, maybe they have ESP, or maybe they have something secreting from their bodies that make them special, I think that'd be dope. Maybe it could get a little bit cheesy if handled wrong, but I like this idea a lot. This says, the God Knights are the most fraudulent anime villain group in history. I actually thought they could rival the Akatsuki. I did too, brother. Hey, it's not over yet. Series is still going. You know, their boss is here, right? My cope. And I love this cope so much. But speaking of anime villain groups, it could be like the Gotei 13 when they go to the human realm in Bleach, and how they have to hold back their spiritual pressure because if they release it, people will die, the village will get destroyed. Maybe it's like that. You know, maybe Imu shows up and he's like, hey guys, you can release your full power now. Garling, time to release the limiters. And then Garling gets up and he's like, yes, boss. Now I'll go from 5% power to 100. And then the island explodes. Cope, but it's my cope. This one says, anyone else notice when Scopper said there are some devil fruits here too? Kind of feels like it ties into the theory about Dragon swapping Shanks with the devil fruit. Also, so happy we got Kaido's laugh again. Easily the best and most addictive laugh in One Piece. Worororo, yes. I feel like this theory is pretty much a shoo-in. We held a poll for this a while back, and I think like 90% of people believe that Dragon gets a fruit here. So I don't even think this is a hot take. I think it's going to happen. This says, if Teach spent any significant time in Leloucia, there is a legitimate non-zero chance he based his epithet off of Dr. Blackbeard from the Ace cover page story. That would be really cool. Yeah, I mean, we do have to wonder, where does he get Blackbeard from? Because that's an alias, man. And there was, like you said, a Dr. Blackbeard at Leloucia. Maybe Teach goes there, him and his mom make it, and then Dr. Blackbeard tries to save his mom. Maybe he fails, or maybe he saves Teach. And then Teach is like, hey, thank you, Dr. Blackbeard. I'm gonna make you my epithet. Be kind of sick. That'd be a nice tie-in, huh? I mean, Oda already got the whole Leloucia thing, so yeah, I think that's dope. Hear me out. If the, quote, Shanks is a bad guy theories still hold any ground, then maybe Shanks intercepting Kaido before Marineford was because Kaido was going to aid Whitebeard, and this would be a devastating Yonko team-up that the WG were so worried about. Unlike this, I can also see the opposite, where it wasn't Shanks that went to go stop Kaido, but it was actually Shamrock. Because they look so one-to-one because they're twins, I could see the Marines having a wrong report. They thought it was Shanks because of the red hair, but instead it was actually Shamrock who stopped him. And funny you mention this, but that is actually where the Shanks twin brother theories started originally. Because somebody asked Oda, they were like, hey, how did Shanks go from the New World to Marineford in the span of 24 hours? Like, that is absurd. Does Shanks have a twin brother? That was the question. Oda didn't say anything. He redacted his answer, and that right there is where the Shanks twin brother theories started. So if we go even further with that, we could say it was just Shamrock. And Shamrock, somebody who would work for the world government at the time, would be the one to stop Kaido. That would be crazy hype for Shamrock being able to stop Kaido and King, but I think the family needs it. Can we be serious for a minute? The family of the Fagarlands need this W. They need something, man. They need something. As far as Shanks doing it, that would also be cool, and it would make sense because we know Shanks is that guy, but I don't know if he's a bad guy, though. Like, I could see Shanks helping the WG in the past, but not after he meets Luffy, or at least after he gets his arm taken off. I don't think Shanks is a bad guy personally. And if he is, I think it's gonna be like a gray area where he's doing bad things, but for the greater good. Maybe he has no choice. But yeah, that's how I feel about that one. I think the reason that the person vanished from the marine life could be that the WG eliminated him due to the fact that he knew too much. I agree. You know, they could have sent Cyberpole to his house and the Marine would have gotten absolutely cooked. They left it really vague. And of course, if somebody gets assassinated, I think Sengoku explained it perfectly for that scenario. Hey there. Oh, God. We're the Holy Knights, introduced so late in the manga that you know we're supposed to be the big endgame threat. The pride of the Holy Land, nightmare of the Yonko, all the majestic nonsense. Apparently, you can take on a Yonko crew. Our leader is Yonko level, according to the marketing. We're immortal, and our mere presence is supposed to change the course of battle. Yeah, sounds epic, right? On paper at least. In reality, our glorious track record speaks for itself. We bully kids and old people. We shine mostly against enemies who don't have hockey. And we have mastered the fine art of easy wins. But hey, don't judge us too harshly. We've faced real opponents, like 4 total times, and got obliterated every single time. 3 clean one-shots and our great leader, backed by one of us, and a whole army of demons got blown to pieces like party confetti. Oh, and we participated in 2, quote, major battles so far. Elbaf and God Valley. Emu themselves even... Emu themselves had to step in, probably, just to witness firsthand how incredibly effective we were at embarrassing ourselves. That is slanderous, man. This was well written. I love this. This might be the best piece of slander I've ever seen. And the tough part is that I can't go against it. You know, until we get a good God Knight chapter, I can't say anything, man. You know, like I said, my hands are tied behind my back. I need somebody to reel it in. The Yeti Holy Knight. Maffy, please get back up. Man, Maya Girl, please shoot your ass up. Somebody do something, man. At least fight the crews. The crews, right? We don't have to beat Rox or Roger, but if we had one of them fight, I don't know, Pig Mom, Captain John, Scopper, Ray, somebody, please, dude, one win. Come on. Oh, yeah. Old people, bullying kids, people who just gave birth even. Hey, at least they have a good KD ratio. All I can say. That is the best compliment I can give to my boys. And here's the thing. I'm a Holy Knight defender. I love these guys. You know, rain or shine, I'm there for these boys, right? I am locked in. I am a Holy Knight fan. They could deadass be the weakest people in the series, and I would still go to bat for them. I would show up to their baseball games, brother. You know, I like Buggy. Yeah, hey, there it is. You know, I don't only like strong characters, so I will always bat for them. But do I still want them to be strong? Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. $2 super chat. Thank you, Mr. Bushido Dragon. When he met Smoker, said the world is waiting for their answer. Was he referring to Emu like rocks? I think so, yeah. No, that's a good one. I do think this is a neat little tie-in if Oda wants to do it. He could also just be talking about the world in general, like the Reverie, the greater world of One Piece. But if we wanted to spin it this way, I would not complain. The main thing we need right now is for Dragon to see Emu. Dragon, to our knowledge, drops Shanks in a treasure chest. The treasure chests, right now at least, are at the center of God Valley with Scopper, Rayleigh, and etc. So if Dragon goes there, he's also going to run into Saturn, who is in the middle of the valley. So I do think Dragon will run into Saturn, or at least I hope. I hope. He got off screen twice. Yeah, not once, but twice. Dude, he came in with a gash on his head. I can't believe it. I'm not sure if it was just me in the anime, but I remember a scene where Garp told Luffy something like, look, you really should become a Marine. Just trust me on this. The way he said it always stood out to me. It felt ominous, like Garp knew something and was afraid. So I think Garp, Rox, and Roger did fight together against Emu. I also think Sengoku doesn't know about Emu or that fight, meaning Garp being called the hero of the Marines is propaganda that Sengoku genuinely believes. I like that. Yeah, I mean, even Sengoku himself said that Garp doesn't like talking about this island. So maybe he wanted to play it safe with Sengoku and he didn't tell his best friend. But I can also see a reality where Sengoku is so smart he does know. All right, Sengoku and Sudu While we don't have much from them, I do like to believe that they are at least a little bit intelligent. Like, oh, something's going on the island. Something put the fear of God in Garp. Also, these celestial dragons and the holy knights, how do they operate? You know, is there somebody who gives them orders? Can't just be the Gorosei, right? I think Sengoku knows, especially since he was a fleet admiral. But I do like this route, where he does believe the propaganda. That's how lost in the sauce the Marines are. They're so lost, even the fleet admiral believes in the prop. The only thing I can't figure out is why, if Garp really did fight against Imu alongside Rox and Roger, why would Imu then allow him to remain in the Marines and call him a hero afterwards? It could be that Garp initially fought against Imu, and then Imu subdues Garp, and then he's like, hey, Garp, sit back. You know, sit back or you're fired. It could also be a thing where the Celestial Dragons needed a story to go with. They had to have somebody propped up on the pedestal, and Garp would be the only one there. That would make sense, right? You don't want to talk too much about the Holy Knights. You don't want to talk about Saturn transforming. You don't want to talk about Imu. So you need somebody to claim the W, and that person would be Garp. Maybe they did want to kill Garp, but they were like, hey, we'll let you stay if you just take this win for yourself. That could be it. Because if Garp wasn't here, who else would be called the hero of the Marines that beat Rox? I don't think anybody would have. And also, I don't think they would want to give that title to Roger either, right? You don't want to make a pirate look good. You want to make the Marines look good instead. And I think that would be a good detriment to other pirates. Like, oh, the Marines have a guy who managed to beat the legendary Rox Syvduck. That crazy bastard. Let's not become pirates, guys, because we'd have to eventually fight the hero. I think that's effective propaganda right there. All right, so now the last two comments. Garling must be the type to get really strong as an old man because the flashback shows he's an inversion of how younger versions of old legends are stronger than their prime selves. Yeah, I've heard a lot of this. People are saying, oh, you know, Whitebeard is strong, but he's not the world's strongest man yet. Kaido is powerful, but he's not the world's strongest creature yet. I believe in Garling. That could be it. You know, maybe after God Valley, he locks in. People are saying that God Valley is actually Dragon's Marineford. This is where he gets stronger. He starts hitting the iron. Maybe that's what this is for Garling. I don't want to lose to no filthy insects anymore. I'm going to show the world pain. And he hits the gym. You know, he stops relying on the regeneration. He eats a devil fruit. He gets a transformation. That could be it. You know, maybe, like I said, that could be Cope, but yeah, I do think Garling current day is a lot stronger than he was in the past. Rox talks like a true pirate, and I'm f***ing here for it. I just need Rox to call Garling a scallywag. I like that. Bring back all the pirate terminology. What else do we have? Scallywag is a good one. Cur is another one. Cantankerous, another one off the top of my head. Pirate slang. Okay, let's see. What does Google say? Ahoy. Shiver me timbers. Blimey. Maybe it'll sound cooler when Rox says it. Booty? Davy Jones's locker? Dead men tell no tales. Heave-ho! Hornswaggle. Never heard that one. Matey. Savvy. Yo-ho-ho, which is Brooks' thing. Arg! Ooh, that's a good... Oh, yeah, drop the arg. Ooh, we definitely lost the plot here. So, with that being said, though, guys, let me know what you thought about all these comments down below. Okay, my chair is not moving. Thank you so much for tuning into this video and watching all the way through until the end. I really freaking appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you thought about this video down below. Voice crack, if you have the time. Please also check out my side channels. Here on the side, actually, we'll put it right here. I got Syvduck, which is where I post all my gameplay content and Twitch clips, which I also have a Twitch channel at Syvduck as well, so feel free to check me out there. I stream really late at night, so apologies for that. So probably just easier to go to the YouTube channel. I also have an anime reaction channel at Somnus Reacts, where I am currently reacting to One Punch Man as well as One Piece. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. You guys take care. We'll be back in the next couple of days with another poll video. Until then, though, you guys take care, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace out, brothers.